Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool every single day. And we thought it'd be nice to get out of the studio for a little bit. It's good to get outside every once in a while. Let's get started with your rundown, which today is dedicated to John F. Donnelly, who says he's a longtime viewer of the show, but this is his first post. Welcome to your rundown. It doesn't have an easy mode, but that hasn't stopped Sekiro Shadows Die Twice from selling 1 million units. Twice. Activision and From Software have announced that their insanely difficult new game sold more than 2 million copies in its first 10 days, making it the fastest-selling game yet from the developer. For comparison, their last big hit, Dark Souls 3, sold 1.5 million in its first 2 weeks, although Sekiro still has a way to go before it beats that game's lifetime sales of 3 million. These impressive figures come amidst controversy. Sekiro, like pretty much every other From Software title, has sparked a debate about difficulty in games and whether or not developers should have an optional easy mode for casual players. Looking ahead, From President Hidetaka Miyazaki has stated that they currently have 2 projects in development, although no word yet on what they are or when we might be seeing them. I don't think Sekiro should have an easy mode, and this is coming from somebody that could really benefit from an easy mode. This game has been kicking my ass. That's why I haven't reviewed it. But what I have appreciated about this game is that if you give it time, and you give it some patience, and you learn some new skills, and you talk to other people that are playing the game, and you take their advice, and you find your way into the game a little bit, it starts giving you tons back. And that's what I've been finding. So I'm still playing it. I'm freaking loving it. I think it is my favorite From Software title, and it's mostly because of the character movement, and the momentum, and the stealthy attacks, and the grappling hook. It's absolutely sensational. It deserves every one of those 2 million sales, because it is excellent. I do want to have a discussion about this game on the show soon, even though I don't know how far I'm going to get into it, because it's brutal. It's so damn hard. Every time I get into a boss fight, I'm like scared from. This is a game that really has me vocalizing as I'm playing it. No! Oh my God! No! Ah! Run! That's how I play Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and that, to me, is the sign of an exceptional game. So congratulations to From Software. I can't wait to see what you guys have up your sleeves. No doubt it will be brutal and make me feel like a piece of crap gamer, but I know I'll have fun too. Avengers Endgame is the longest Marvel movie ever made, and that might prevent it from being the biggest. Directors Joe and Anthony Russo recently confirmed that the final runtime of the new film clocks in at 3 hours and 2 minutes, making it the longest film in Marvel Studios history. This obviously means that audiences will get to see more from their favorite heroes, but it also might hurt the film at the box office. Several analysts have pointed out that the longer a movie is, the fewer showtimes you can have per screen in a given day, which could hurt the film's overall earnings. It could also cause a disproportionate impact on rival films, because theater owners might pull those movies to give themselves more room for extra Avengers showings in order to make up for the longer runtime. Avengers Endgame is already breaking pre-sale records, so it's definitely going to be a hit, but we'll just have to wait and see how big a hit it becomes. It lands in theaters in 2 weeks.
How do we know it's going to end any differently than it did before?
I don't think we have to worry too much about how much box office Avengers Endgame is going to make. I think it's going to make plenty. It may not make as much as Avengers Infinity War because it's a little bit longer, but I think fans really want to see this concluded.
Yeah.
I think it's not just the conclusion to Infinity War, it is the answer to 21 films. So I think it's going to draw people in huge waves, and I think it's also going to have a long stay in theaters. So it might not make quite as much out of the gate as Infinity War, but I think it's going to be in theaters for a long time. We would feel ripped off if Avengers Endgame was 2 hours. They have to give each of these incredible superheroes lots and lots of time on screen. There's no other way. I think it had to be a 3-hour movie. I don't think there's any other way. So if it makes a little bit less, who cares? As long as it is the movie that we all want it to be.
Let's go get this son of a bitch.
It doesn't sound like Disney is bringing out the big guns for their new Star Wars show. The new series, The Mandalorian, which is being made exclusively for the new Disney Plus streaming service, is going to be smaller than some of the recent Star Wars adventures. That's according to executive producer Jon Favreau. Speaking at a special panel hosted by the Directors Guild of America, Favreau revealed that when he was writing the show, he wanted to give it a smaller scale, more in line with the first Star Wars movie, which was a relatively low-budget undertaking. This sounds like the series will be a lot smaller and more intimate than recent blockbusters like The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi, which makes sense given that it's being made for the small screen, although Disney is likely hoping it will still be big enough to woo audiences to the streaming platform. The Mandalorian takes place between the events of the original trilogy and The Force Awakens, focusing on a lone gunfighter from the same species as the notorious bounty hunter Boba Fett. It launches with the Disney Plus launch later this year. I think this is absolutely the right attitude and the right direction for this series. I think Jon Favreau has a very, very vast appreciation and knowledge of how Hollywood should work across all spectrums, across television, across streaming, across movies, big budget, low budget, indie, and the fact that he's working with incredible Star Wars shepherds like Dave Filoni, like Sam Witwer told us in our interview, it just bodes very well for this series. Disney has bet big on this franchise and this universe, and I think that this is how you do it. You flesh it out, you give us lots of different hooks and lots of different reasons to care, and you hire the right people. Can't wait to see this, even if I'm a little burnt out, even if, Solo wasn't amazing, and even if The Last Jedi pisses me off a little bit, the fact that still some of the best creators in Hollywood are involved and trying to build something really special makes me feel great. Moviegoers will soon be able to join gamers and be whisked away to the land of Ni No Kuni. Take a look at the first trailer for the new anime movie based on the cartoonish action RPG franchise. It's not directly based on any one of the games, but instead tells an original story that will see a new group of characters transported from our world to the same fantasy realm from the games. As you can see, it certainly looks like Ni No Kuni, which makes sense given that the games were inspired by the style of anime movies. Unfortunately, anime company Studio Ghibli, which co-created the first game but wasn't involved with the recent sequel, is not involved with the film either. No Kuni, more like no Ghibli, am I right? The film hits theaters in Japan this summer, and hopefully a Western release will follow soon after. I am excited about where this movie is going to take us because the world of Ni No Kuni is so filled with disparate elements that it leaves creators, whether they make games or movies, all kinds of these different opportunities to lay down paths, to take us in interesting directions. So yeah, definitely super excited about this, and I know that every fan of the Ni No Kuni games is going to be super stoked too. Gamers can expect big things from the makers of Life is Strange and Vampyr. Independent studio Dontnod Entertainment has announced that their recent blood-sucking game Vampyr has now sold more than 1 million copies. Thanks to the success of the game, they've renewed their partnership with publisher Focus Home Interactive to create an all-new project that they say will be even bigger and be the most ambitious game yet from the studio. That's all they've said for now, so it's impossible to know exactly what kind of game this might be. Vampyr is an action RPG with a strong emphasis on combat mechanics using supernatural powers, while their other big hit, Life is Strange, and its ongoing sequel are more narrative-driven adventure games. No word on when we might be seeing this unannounced new project. In the meantime, Life is Strange 2 is getting a new episode next month, and another new project from the studio, Twin Mirror, lands later this year. This is one of my favorite independent studios out there. I'm a big fan of Dontnod and their desire to create compelling narrative. I think it's really important for these developers to craft stories and worlds that are literate and interesting and have all kinds of great influence you can see permeating throughout their work. One of the things that I really admire about the way that these people craft games is their impeccable taste. It's not just great art and cool characters that we care about, but it's also, it comes down to little things like picking the right music and the right themes and evoking awesome atmosphere. That's the best thing that you can say about Vampyr, is that maybe it's got a slightly dated art style and it doesn't deliver on all of its action RPG potential, but the atmosphere that it evokes is incredible. So my hat is off to the studio, and congratulations on this great success. I can't wait to see what you get up to next. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for our rundown today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow with a brand new episode for you. In the meantime, we've got lots of great interviews and lots of great EP content for you to check out, so please do. And if you dig it, hit subscribe and that little bell, and check out our merch on our merch site at epn.tv/merch. Thanks for watching, everybody. Play forever.